The dust swirled like a storm around the abandoned factory yard as the engine of the infamous custom bike screamed loud enough to rattle metal doors and bones alike. Every man in the biker crew stood back, shielding their eyes, stunned by the raw fury ripping out of the machine. Brutal torque, unpredictable throttle surges, and a chain-snapping vibration that had already thrown 2 riders across the yard made the monstrous bike feel alive and angry. They called it the Savage, a hand-built beast with a skull-painted tank and a reputation for humiliating even the toughest riders. But today was different. Something had shifted in the air. Because rolling slowly toward the chaos, pushing himself across the uneven dirt in a battered wheelchair, was the last man anyone expected to even look at that machine, let alone tame it. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of the human spirit, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep these life-changing stories alive. The crew members whispered among themselves, unsure whether to stop him or let him pass. His name was Cole Hartman, a Hell Angeles veteran who had lost his right leg and most of the strength in his left during a desert mission that went catastrophically wrong years ago. His body carried the marks of war, his arms inked with stories, and his wheelchair rigged with custom metalwork that told everyone he still lived through mechanics and grit. Though his brothers respected him deeply, they never expected him to ride again. The doctors had told him he wouldn't. Some days, he believed them. Most days, he didn't. But he stayed with the crew, fixing bikes with hands steadier than any surgeon's, teaching rookies how to respect machinery like it had a soul, because to him, every engine did. But the Savage was different. It wasn't just untamed, it was misunderstood. A masterpiece built by a fallen brother, Rooster, who had passed away before finishing the tuning. The bike had become a memorial, a legend, and a danger. Everyone wanted to ride it in Rooster's honor, yet no one could keep it steady for more than 3 seconds. The machine bucked like it was rejecting every rider. Some said it should be decommissioned. Some said it needed to be sold. But Cole felt something strange the moment he heard it roar. It was as if Rooster's spirit, and his unfinished work, still echoed through the pipes. The crew's strongest riders stood around the bike, wiping sweat from their brows after their latest failed attempts. The dirt was carved with skid marks and boot prints, the air thick with burnt rubber. Cole watched silently, studying the vibrations, the chain tension, the idle rhythm, the tiny sputters most riders never noticed. The bike wasn't wild, it was wounded. It wasn't dangerous, it was calling for the right hands. And so, without asking permission, he locked his wheelchair brakes, pushed himself up using only his arms, and with a presence strong enough to quiet men twice his size, he stood beside the Savage. A collective hush fell. The engine sputtered, then growled, as if recognizing someone familiar. It took everything in Cole not to collapse. His prosthetic dug painfully into the dirt, and his balance wavered, but the crew knew better than to rush forward. This was his moment, and they felt it, every one of them. Cole reached out and placed a steady palm on the tank, running his hand over the skull graphic Rooster had painted years ago. The metal trembled under his fingertips, but instead of backing away, Cole welcomed the vibration, reading it like a heartbeat. He closed his eyes for a long moment, listening to the rhythm, sensing the misfires, understanding its anger. When he finally exhaled, it was slow and deliberate, the kind of breath that came from remembering both pain and healing. He lowered himself onto the seat with calculated effort, gripping the handlebars firmly as the bike roared its defiance. The crew tensed, ready to intervene if he was thrown off. For a full 5 seconds, the machine bucked beneath him. But Cole didn't fight it the way others did. He let the bike move. He let it breathe. He absorbed its rage like someone who had lived through far worse. Then, slowly, he adjusted the clutch tension, eased the throttle down with a gentleness that shocked even himself, and shifted his weight the way he used to before the war took his leg. And just like that, the engine tone changed. It steadied. It calmed. It listened. The yard fell silent except for the low, controlled rumble of the Savage under Cole's command. It was the sound of respect, understanding, and something deeper, closure. The men couldn't believe their eyes. The same bike that had thrown grown giants like sandbags now rolled smoothly under a man who hadn't ridden in years. Cole eased it forward, then circled slowly around the stunned crew. Dust swirled behind the wheels like a golden halo in the afternoon sun. And for a moment, as the wind hit his face and the familiar vibration of a custom engine pulsed through his bones, Cole felt whole again. Tears formed in more eyes than one. These were hardened men, built by miles of road and scars of life, but watching Cole reclaim a piece of himself broke something open inside them. It reminded them of brotherhood, loyalty, and the unspoken truth that strength wasn't measured only by limbs or muscles, but by heart. Cole wasn't just riding a bike. He was carrying Rooster's legacy, proving that some bonds never die, that some machines don't choose riders, they recognize them. As Cole brought the bike to a halt, the engine shut off with a smooth purr none of them had heard before. He rested his forehead on the tank, overcome with a wave of emotion that washed years of pain, loss, and doubt away. When he looked up, every man in the yard stood taller, prouder, and more united than ever. They didn't cheer. They didn't roar. Instead, they honored the moment with silence, the kind of silence that meant something sacred had just happened. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps bring more powerful, real-feeling stories to life. Before the story ends, drop a comment saying, "Respect for Cole," to honor all veterans who fight battles we may never see. Cole finally smiled, a real, peaceful smile, as the sun dipped low and warmed the dust around him. In that golden light, surrounded by his brothers, riding the bike built by a friend he would never forget, he realized something profound. Healing doesn't always come gently. Sometimes it comes roaring back into your life on two wheels. And that day, the savage wasn't just tamed. It was understood.